Isabel and Parker, talk to me about how you got connected to these amazing women. So I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, so Izzy and I are both photographers. We met at film school. We both went to NYU. And a couple summers back, we were on a road trip from Montana to Texas. And we were kind of trying to photograph like the teenage experience in the summer. And on our last night in town, we stopped at a gas station at 2 a.m. and saw 4 girls in a pickup truck come barreling in. Music was blasting. They were barefoot. They were having a blast. They were like just joking around. And Izzy was like, oh my gosh, like we have to talk to these girls. They look amazing. And we asked to take their photo, and Brittney was one of those girls. And we kind of just like got to talking, and they ended up like inviting us back to their friend's house. And that's where we met Autumn and a bunch of other people. And there was like, we just had a wild and incredible night talking to these kids, asking them what it was like to be them, like what was it like to be where they're from. And everyone just like had so much to say. And we were kind of just drawn to this like electric teenage energy. They just felt so free.
Yeah, I love that. And I felt that way too. You know, first film that came in my mind was American Honey, Andrea Arnold's film. It just, it takes you into like a experience, like the feeling and the music, and it's awesome. So Brittney, I have a question for you. So your confidence, I wrote this down. I'm like, your confidence shines, and it does. I feel like if I was in high school with you, I'd want to be your friend because you're just so cool. And actually, it's funny that you say that in the film. You're like, if I hang out with anyone, they're just immediately gonna like me. And so I was like, that's kind of true, because I was like, she's like a kick-ass girl, just going out, having a good time, and also real. And so I want to talk about with you, what was it like for you to kind of let yourself go, in a sense, like show those layers of yourself that are more vulnerable in front of a camera? What was that experience like for you?
So it was I just kind of ignored the camera part. So I became friends with Isabel and Parker. They became really good friends, and I was very open and comfortable to talking around them. So I pretty much was just like, I'm talking to them. Let's just ignore the camera and just talk to them.
Yeah, that's great. And you could definitely feel like, all the girls were being genuine and real. And I really appreciated that. So Autumn, I feel like you're like a role model to me, and I don't even really know you, but in the sense that you're so like this wise woman in high school, like you're seeing a therapist, you got your shit straight, and it's just like whatever challenges you meet, you just seem to like tackle them, and you're not afraid to show being vulnerable as well, which is very inspiring. So I'm curious, what was something from like that summer, that experience, that you learned the most about yourself?
We had this question earlier.
Honestly, I feel like I really haven't learned anything. If anything, I feel like if anything, I feel like I've grown, and I've seen like just how strong of a person that I am.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for the role model part. That really means a lot, honestly.
I feel like I was like taking notes when you were talking. I'm like, those are the best quotes. Like, I'm going to take that with me. So
I'm very wise.
Yeah.
I'm very wise.
And there are many quotes we couldn't fit.
So much pearls.
I think you get all the quotes from your dad.
My dad is very wise.
Yeah. He was a good, well, not character because he's a real person, but I enjoyed your relationship with him. So, Isabel and Parker, do you go by Izzy? Is that?
Yeah, you can say
Okay.
Izzy.
So, I want to talk about the verité style of your filmmaking, like just kind of very immersive and, getting us in there. I don't know if this would kind of complement that kind of style, but I loved how you captured certain things like the cell phones in the back pocket, like while they're, just walking and, so can you talk about that style that you were using for this documentary?
Yeah.
Sure. Well, I mean, first I would say frames like the one you just mentioned are very like, I can see a frame these days and be like, that's a very Isabel frame. She notices a lot of like peculiar things, like peculiar juxtapositions or like a detail that actually sums up so much. And when you frame it, it's like, oh my gosh, that's the person, or like, that's so, that thing. And I feel like there's so many details in this that speak to like girlhood and, water trickling down your back when you're at the beach and like how it dries in the sun, that kind of thing. It's like Isabel has an incredible eye for these like, I guess just details, but it's like these moments, like the way a shot is framed. It's like, it's a dynamic even in the frame, which is really cool.
Yeah. Izzy, did you have anything to add?
Yeah, well, I think, we talked a lot about this style. We met them as photographers, but also friends. And I think we really wanted to bring that feeling to the film. And we picked lenses. We were using kind of wider prime lenses, and the way we were in the spaces, we wanted the camera to feel like the viewer was getting invited into the story in the same way that we were kind of along for their ride. Like we wanted
like
to
a
bring
fourth friend in the room.
Yeah, we wanted it to feel like you were really present and really feeling it from their perspective. She goes, this is some camera talk. And it just, it lends itself to the story.
And I was just going to say, on the photography level, like Izzy and I have been very inspired by other photographers that have captured girlhood in a way that feels very relatable. And it feels like it's like sometimes when you frame something that's a moment, you're like, oh my gosh, I've totally been there too. Like my friend has plucked my eyebrows as well, and that kind of thing. And we really wanted to like have it feel like those photos that we've seen, so that people can relate to it.
Yeah. I do love how it's like girlhood universal. Like I feel like any person who's been a teenage girl can be like, yep, I remember a lot of that. So yeah. So this is more the serious side of the film, but I know this was like important to you to capture, these aspects of, rape culture, domestic violence, sexual assault. That does seem to be a streamline through the film. So I want to talk to all of you about this, but just to start with Izzy and Parker, can you talk about what you were trying to bring to the screen with these themes and, through these stories?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I think so much of what was brought to the screen was stemmed from like what we were observing, but then also in having long conversations with the girls, like what they wanted to talk about and, kind of teach us about their lives and talk about what they're going through, what has bothered them, what, comes up. And it really just organically unfolded that, pretty much every girl that we had met down there had some kind of non-consensual sexual experience. And it really became part of the forefront of what we wanted to talk about and have people see that, it's happening to all sorts of girls and it's really happening. And I think a lot of people think that it looks like a certain kind of girl and it looks like a certain kind of guy. And, it's happening to a lot of people in a lot of different places. And we really wanted to bring that to light.
Yeah, I really appreciated, Autumn and Brittney for you opening up about that, because I feel like you do feel so alone when those things happen. You feel so isolated, and it's scary to be so vulnerable about experiences that have really like kind of damaged you in a way. But there's something so free and inspiring to I hope like a load of teenage girls watch this film, because I feel like Brittney and Autumn, like hearing just you come to the screen talking about your experiences will give them the courage to talk to people about their experiences. And they call this like a movement, but you know, this has been happening like since the dawn of time, that you know, sexual assault and abuse, and it's very important, I feel, for women to feel like they're not alone in this and to just really stand by each other. So, Brittney and Autumn, I wonder if you could kind of talk about that, about, you know, those experiences. Was that freeing for you in a sense to come to the camera about all that? And, you know, what your thoughts are about all that in general, like bringing that to the screen?
Honestly, it wasn't really that hard for me to talk about it because I have had a lot of therapy. And talking about your past is a step in moving forward in therapy. So it was brought up a lot. So it didn't really bother me talking about it. Whenever Parker and Izzy, whenever I had first met them and they had told me like the purpose of the documentary, I
You didn't think about it.
whoops.
It's all good.
It happens so much. Whenever they told me the purpose, I put out a lot of information because I have been through a lot, especially in those kinds of areas. And I just want people to know that they're not alone. And I remember how it felt whenever I was going through those times, and it was not a good feeling. So I guess the goal for people that are going through those things is it's okay to speak up. It's okay to feel these things, and you're not alone. You're being heard. And yeah.
I agree. The one thing that would always help me talk about it, like especially like being on camera, was like Parker and Izzy would always tell us like people are gonna care, like people are gonna love to hear this and want to hear your stories because we aren't alone. Like so many people go through it, so many people are gonna understand and care. And it was just, I personally didn't have the best therapy, so I hated talking about it. But I was also personally very comfortable with Parker and Izzy to where it wasn't hard talking about it with them.
People don't realize that things like this happen 9 out of 10 households.
Yeah.
And I remember when those things were happening to me, I felt invisible. I felt numb. I wanted to be 6 feet under, but the only place to go when you hit rock bottom is up. So
That's right. That's right. Well, thank you for being so brave with that. It is very scary, and to do that in front of a camera is even more scary. So I think you're going to inspire a lot of girls, and I'm so happy this film exists. So yes, Izzy and Parker, I'm curious, you know, immersing yourself back into like teenage world. What is something you kind of learned about yourselves by doing doing this film, like something you learned about yourself? So
I have so many.
I mean, we were talking about this the other day, actually, because I think something that was really interesting and a little unexpected was, I mean, Parker's from New York and I'm from LA, and there were things about the rural lifestyle, Texas, bonfires and trucks and mud and cowboy boots that like excited us because we had never experienced it and didn't live a teenage life in those spaces. But at the same time, it also kind of really holds up a mirror to our own experiences and makes us consider our own teenage years and what we were all okay with and what was normalized, and how like this cycle keeps happening because no one's really being like, hold on, stop,
right.
breaks, let's talk about this. It's really like everyone's like, okay, this is what it means to grow up, so we just have to get over it, we just have to toughen up, we just have to move on. And I think it really made us look at our own past, and hopefully also makes audiences look at their past and like have us all reflect on the culture we've all participated in and created together, really.
Yep.
Yeah, I also think I learned a lot about like how being strong isn't always something that makes you feel better, and that while it's incredible to like toughen up, but you don't want to harden. And, you know, watching these girls deal with so much and the way they talked about it. And even Aaloni, who's not with us today, she, you know, talks a lot about like how keeping stuff in like doesn't help her. And she, you know, sometimes it makes her stay angry or stay upset. And I've definitely learned a lot about like even myself, but and watching other people of like how we all handle emotions isn't, you know, I think culture kind of values strength over vulnerability and kind of means it doesn't value healing. It just values like compartmentalizing. And I think that a lot of us have a lot to say and are going through things, and we should talk about it.
Yeah. And I something I was going to talk to Aaloni about was her mother. Like that one scene just with her talking about, you know, not being weak, but I guess being vulnerable but not too vulnerable. And then, you know, her tears going down. And I was just like, life is hard, man. It's just like, you know, people deal with their different pains. And, you know, the relationship between Aaloni and her mother was just amazing. And just seeing that she's the only mom that's like present throughout the whole thing. And it was really interesting to me. Did you want to talk about her, you know, working with Aaloni's mother, or just, you know, the two of them together?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, they're incredible. You know, something that isn't even that prevalent in what made the final cut is that Michelle is, you know, everyone calls her moms. They call her moms. Like she's been kind of like a matriarch to so many girls and teenagers that we've met down there. And, you know, their relationship is so incredible. And we learned so much about, I think, how a lot of these girls are dealing with stuff by talking to Michelle and having conversations with her, because, you know, you get to see like some of these habits, if they sit with you for 20 years, if they sit with you for, you know, months, like what does it end up looking like? And I think having just, yeah, like talking to her a lot about like what she went through as much as what her daughter's going through is was so like helpful to us and like inspiring to like understand how certain things get to be a certain way, if that makes sense.
Yeah. That end shot where I don't know who it was, because it was such a small, was that Autumn?
Yeah.
Jumping off the rock. And then I feel like that connected a lot with the title of the film, Cusp, like you're on the cusp of something, and we don't quite see you dive into the water, but we see you like almost dive into the water. So I wonder if you could talk about, maybe all of you, just, you know, what the title and possibly that final shot meant to you. So yeah, I don't know who wants to start. Maybe Autumn. Sorry, go ahead.
I think F definitely means like growth, the growing of life and growing into new things.
Yeah.
I think it's like the next step.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the film, Brittney says, I'm only 16 and I have forever to go.
Yes.
That's kind of, you know, what it is to me in terms of like, this was just a snapshot and it was such a small portion of their life, and that there's so much to come. And it's, you know, kind of thinking about like adolescence as this, you know, it's setting up, you're on the brink of what's coming next. And we don't know what that means. And I think it's up to an audience they can think about what that means, but it's not for us to say who people are going to become, you know. It could be anything, forever to go.
I think too, it's funny when you think about coming of age movies. I mean, I haven't done math on it, but it feels like the vast majority of them are about teenage boys, and there's always this element of inspiration and possibility and potential. And we really wanted to kind of feel that with a girlhood story in a way that Parker and I think have lacked, you know, growing up. We never really felt like there was that kind of,
can you be inspired by a girl?
inspirational
like,
story. You can be anything and anything could happen next. And I think we wanted to end with that feeling of, you know, girls go through what they go through and they're growing and they're learning and they're changing, and then like, but they can be anything. And who knows where that's going to lead? You know, like, who knows what's going to lead?
Yeah,
that's going to lead them to. What am I trying to say?
Right.
Where that'll lead
You
them.
said,
I
get what
yeah.
you're
Anyway.
that's so exciting, and that actually kind of goes into my next question. So Lil Peep. I've never heard of this artist because I guess I'm too old, but I love that you guys had this music, this artist throughout the film. And I read in the press notes, you guys were referring to this as the soundtrack of these girls' youth. And I think music is such a huge thing in coming of age films. I was just thinking of, I don't know if you've seen Celine Sciamma's Girlhood. And
No, that's all.
yeah, there's this whole scene where they're dancing to Rihanna's Diamond song, and it's so magical, and it just like lights up all of these teenage girls. And I feel like the music was a huge factor with, you know, the filmmaking style to really elevating this film. I don't know if each of you can kind of talk about, you know, maybe Brittney and Autumn, about seeing all of this on the screen, like, wow, this music like really brings it to life, or just your general thoughts about it. So I don't know who wants to start first.
So really, I think the music was picked just because like that's what we all listened to. Like when we first met Parker and Izzy, we literally listened to Lil Peep every day, everywhere we went. That was our music, and that was the only music we listened to. And we got them on it most definitely. Now they listen to it all the time. And I think that's why they picked the music that went in it.
And as an artist, Autumn, you can speak to him.
I think his music is just overall good too. Like
It's very
hits the
powerful.
spot,
It's
hits the spot.
like very powerful to me. That's why I like it.
Yeah.
Fun fact, the very last song that plays at the end of the movie, Beamer
The
Boy.
song that was playing
Beamer
right
Boy.
now.
That's the song that was playing when I got ran over.
Autumn was in it.
Let's just take a step back.
Oh.
There's a random fact here that is before we started filming, someone ran over both of Autumn's feet and she broke both of her feet.
Oh,
Accidentally.
God.
Total accident. Beamer Boy just happened to have been playing,
Yeah.
and it's etched in our memories for
Yeah.
that's that.
Wow. I mean, Autumn,
And now you know.
Autumn can handle a lot of pain, it seems, with that piercing scene. I was just like, oh my God. Like, I didn't even see what was going on, but I was like, felt the pain. And you're like, yeah, I'm never doing that again.
That was a big
Like
mistake.
I just fucked up.
That was a big mistake, but obviously I didn't learn my lesson.
We just got them redone.
It's all good.
That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
It doesn't
But
matter.
People are like, how are the girls now? But yeah, no, I mean, we love Lil Peep, love his music. And also I think something that we love about his music and that a lot of the girls have expressed is like how honest he is about not feeling okay, feeling depressed, going through real stuff. And like, I think they connect and we connect with just like how open he is about like, it's okay to not be okay. And I'm trying to figure it out. And I'm trying to fall in love and I'm trying to go on adventures and try drugs or whatever, you know, like try stuff. But I think that like, he's just, his music feels really accessible and relatable in that way.
Mhm.
And it's catchy as hell. So there's that.
Yeah, I loved it. I mean, and I'm very detached from, yeah, I'm not gonna get in my detachment of teenage culture right now.
No one's
but
too old for Lil Peep.
You can totally
get into
look him
it.
up.
Yeah, I'll get into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And TikTok, I'm working on it. But anyways, I want to hear, I think we're getting to the end here. So I want to hear what you hope people see in your film. So I don't know if each of you wants to say what you hope people see in this film or your film. So
I hope they see that it's okay to speak up and it's okay to feel things. It's okay to not be okay.
Yeah, I hope people see that it's okay to talk about their problems and that not a lot of people are going through the same problems they are and they're there to listen. And
Yeah, what they said.
okay.
Yeah, I honestly,
I mean, that's it. I mean,
I think they said it best.
yeah.